Okay, look, did you notice in that last segment, I went from number 3 to number 5? Checking you, watch it.
Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Good morning. Good morning. Happy New Year.
Good morning. Happy New Year, everyone.
Hope you guys are doing well.
Like was.
Yes, yes.
We'll get
Yes,
started.
in the new year.
We'll get started in just a few minutes, guys, okay? Just give everyone the time to just jump in. We'll give them 2 more minutes.
Louis, I don't know if it's my imagination or not, bro, but you look so much older than last year.
You know what? When I was 18, that would have been a compliment. Now I don't know. After 21, it doesn't sound that good anymore.
Something happened to me along the way because I was that same way. Like I'd be 30 years old. People think I was 21, could barely shave. And all of a sudden, like, poof, I turned into an old fart.
Yeah, no way. You know what? Age is a funny thing because it's really it's really in perspective. Because I remember growing up, people that were in their 20s and 30s, they seemed old to me. And then now I'm looking at people that are 20s and 30s and like they're kids, like they're just so green behind the ears and our web guys just finding things out for the first time. So really just it's mindset, really, what you feel. That's all.
Exactly. You watch those professional baseball pitchers or football players, and I think, oh my gosh, they look like they're in high school.
Yeah. And look at Tom Brady, and everyone's like, "Oh, this guy's old. This guy's old," and he's outperforming everyone. Like he doesn't. I guess he doesn't feel that way.
I didn't hear you.
I said, look at Tom Brady, for example. Everyone's always saying, how he's past his prime and he's outperforming everyone. And he's breaking his own records.
Yeah, he's a phenom. Yep, he's the GOAT.
He is the GOAT.
I like to think we had to grow up faster back then.
I think so.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah, basically raise yourself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I feel all those things build character. Given things, and when you're given things, you don't appreciate them as much. But when you work hard for it, it really does mold you, set you up for life.
That's so true. And that's the trick, right? When we have our own kids, like, I don't have kids yet, but thinking of you who do, I'm sure it's interesting to try to help them to appreciate things without them having to earn it all as you might have,
Yeah, I believe
that. Very perceptive. Very perceptive.
I believe that's the hardest part of being a parent is finding a fine line between giving them what you always wanted to have and you couldn't have, and then also making them feel, what the value of money is and what to have and not have.
Yeah. I don't know if it's still considered the right way, but I used to love, my parents would give me chores, and I remember buying my first pair of shoes when I was 6.
Yeah.
I remember exactly what they looked like, and the pride that I had in those little 90s pointy black suede with the shoelaces. I mean, I would wear those now. So
Yeah.
I think when you have your kids kind of earn it and then pay for it themselves, they feel very independent and responsible.
That is very true. I grew up in northern Maine. Potatoes were the heart of the economy. I was 6 years old. My grandmother took my brother and I to the potato field. We started picking potatoes off the ground. The farmer started dropping them on the ground from the digger at 6:30. He dug until 4. You stayed on the field until all your section was picked up. You fill a barrel. He gave you a ticket with a number. That was your number for the 3 weeks of potato harvest season. Every barrel that you filled, you had 25 cents. At the end of that 3-week season, my parents would drive us 2 hours south to a town called Bangor, Maine, and we would buy our own shirts and shoes to go to school with. And I thought, man, I thought that was the greatest thing, to get $5 at the end of the day for picking whatever that was, 15 barrels of potatoes or whatever. Right.
That's awesome.
I'm sure you were proud.
And I had no idea how poor our family was, but I'm one of 7 siblings. And one of the greatest gifts that my parents taught us was how to work hard and persevere through things that you did not want to do. You just kept going and going and going.
Wow.
A work ethic is probably the hardest thing today to teach a kid, and still remains the most important. But those that do it well are going to put their kids in a good place in life.
Absolutely.
Thanks for sharing. That's so cool.
Yeah. Who remembers growing up as a kid and having to do a lot of different things that our kids don't do today? I remember I used to wash my siblings' cars for money. I used to take Polaroid pictures for money. I even went out with my dad once and we collected cans so we could recycle cans when we used to get 5 cents a can or 5 cents a bottle. You guys remember that?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
Yep.
There's a lot of things that our kids will probably never understand.
Shovel snow for money.
Absolutely.
I had a newspaper route when I was around 6.
I used to cut hair in the basement. I used to make people like Harry Page look horrendous.
Yeah, this guy started out horrible.
Yeah, if that Star Ledger got thrown on my porch one more time, I would get mad.
That's why Harry's bald now, because I used to cut it so bad.
Yeah, we used to get that complaint when people would, we would throw it and stuff like that. That's so funny you brought that up.
I had the same route in Irvington. I know it well.
Nice.
I used to bag groceries at IGA. Used to
IGA,
get, yeah,
is that a store over where you live?
it was in North. Mm-hmm.
Newark. Oh, okay.
That's awesome, man. I mean, look, those are things we should be proud about. And nothing we should ever be ashamed about is what we did to not only make ends meet, because I don't think that was maybe the lesson there, but I think what we did to build character. If we could do that and do it, with pride, I mean, imagine what we could do with stuff that we really have a passion about. What we can really do that's going to move our family forward and progress our generations to come. And the real balancing act there is instilling that into the people that we love the most. So yeah, if you guys have kids, man, let me know how you do it, because I'd love to take some notes. I'd love to take some lessons from you guys.
I don't have none.
No,
I got a son. He's 22, but
okay.
I don't got no tips.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in making them do their chores, making them work hard at home, and doing what they have to do. But it's hard to make them want to do it. They do it because they have to. The tough part is getting them to want to do it on their own and saying, hey, maybe getting creative and saying, hey, there's a bunch of things that need to be done. If I do them, will I be able to, make $5 or something? That would make me very happy, because that shows their entrepreneurial side. But I think with time,
Louis, now the kids, they like to make TikTok videos and they get paid big bucks for it.
yeah,
That's if the parents
Okay.
let them. I'm a homeschooler, and my kids have, my younger two have never stepped foot inside of a school unless we was going to see somebody else's kid do something. But for my last two, because I do not pressure them to do anything, they're more willing to come help me. I have to ask them not to do something. I learned that it's the total opposite. I get more gratitude for everything that I do. Every meal that goes on the table, you would think that I would have to say your prayers. They turn around and they thank me first. I didn't have to teach that. But what I've learned, that the more that I back off, the more that they come to me instead of the other way.
that's awesome.
That's beautiful.
Belinda, my guess is you taught that because you just live with a thankful, grateful spirit. Your kids see that in you. So you have taught that without using words, which is the best example. John Maxwell says, leadership is influence, and influence is set by example. And so you have taught your kids, but give yourself more credit, because they're learning it from you.
That's right.
Absolutely. Well, good stuff, guys. Good stuff. We have a packed house today. We have about 23 people on the call now. This is great. What I want to cover today is maybe not so much jump into Grant's stuff today, even though Grant's stuff is great to build off of. What I want to talk to you guys about today, we're going to go through 3 different scenarios. We're going to start with the beginning problems, or the problems that beginning agents have. Like agents are just getting started in their career. Problems that top producers are having, and then problems that team leaders are having. So we're going to go throughout the whole spectrum, I guess you would call it, of real estate in general. So this is going to benefit everyone. It's not just going to be for one segment or another. And please, guys, this is about you. So interact, tell me what you're seeing, what you're having, what kind of problems you're having, so that way we can kind of talk through them, role play them, and get through it that way. I'll start off because I promised you last week. But please, guys, let me know if you're having some issues that we can talk about, and then we'll move on. I want to dedicate about maybe 15 minutes to each topic. I'll start off with telling you right now that I know that some of you, and Brent is the one that I most recently talked to about this, is how do you get your buyers to sign a exclusive buyer's agreement, right? Exclusive buyer's agreement, if you guys are not familiar with, or we're not on the call before, is basically like a listing agreement for a buyer. So, a listing agreement, when you sell a home, you're exclusively selling that home. They cannot sell the home without you. And if the home does sell within the allotted period of time, you're going to get a commission on it. Now, the buyer's agreement, the exclusive buyer's agreement is basically the same thing. It specifies how long you're going to be working together. It also specifies what your compensation is if you do find them a home, whether the home is on the market or whether the home is off the market. And it also specifies your obligations to the client and their obligations to you. I know most of you on this call are probably not too familiar with filling them out or creating them. There is a video on my YouTube channel where you guys can, explain it, learn how to, understand it. But I will tell you this much: you will not be able to get anyone to sign it comfortably, or you will. There's people who sign anything if you put it in front of them. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about if you get questioned on what an exclusive buyer's agreement is, you need to be so comfortable explaining it that they would be silly not to sign it. It would be something that benefits them more than it benefits you. So how do we do that? It benefits them more because you put more emphasis on your obligations to them. It benefits them more because it's not your idea. This is a document that's created by the National Association of Realtors, which makes them feel like, hey, this is a typical document that needs to be signed when you're working with a real estate agent. So don't make it seem like, hey, I only work with people that sign exclusive buyers agreements because I don't want to waste my time. Then it sounds like, you know what? No, I don't want to sign a document to not waste your time or to benefit you. The document has to be explained in a way where, excuse me, Mr. or Mrs. Buyer, obviously whoever you're working with, you say, these are the documents that we're going to be signing today. Let me explain them to you, and then stop me at any time if you have any questions. I'm going to go through everything, and then at the end, we'll just sign off on everything. Does that sound good to you? Yes, sounds great. Man, you explain the contract, right? You don't just explain maybe, oh, well, let me back up. Let me back up for a second, because you shouldn't be presenting the exclusive buyer's agreement at the moment you explain the contract. You should be explaining it when you give them the CIS, maybe in the beginning. But in the event that you pull out the exclusive buyer's agreement at the same time that you're getting them to sign a contract, which there's nothing wrong with that. And the reason why I say there's nothing wrong with that is because if you do it when you fill out your first contract, you guys know in this market right now, the first contract you fill out with a buyer is not necessarily the one that's going to get accepted. You're getting a lot of offers right now. You're making a lot of offers and not getting accepted because there's so many buyers on the market and so little inventory. So if you can introduce it, even at that point, you're already ahead of 90% of the agents out there, okay? Most agents are not even utilizing it because they're uncomfortable. So if you do utilize it during the time that you get a contract signed, which is fine, it's okay. I forgive you if you do that, but you should obviously be doing it when you get a CIS or the equivalent thereof in your state. I know in other states it's not called that, but whatever your representation form is, you should probably get it done then. How do you explain it? Well, you basically let the person know, Mr. or Mrs. Buyer. Obviously, I have to explain some things to you because I am a realtor, and along with being a realtor, there are some duties and obligations that I have to you that the state mandates me to explain to you. Now, this is a exclusive buyer's agreement, and then this is also a CIS. Let me explain everything to you, and then at the very end, I will answer any questions you have, or you can stop me, I'll answer any questions, but at the end, we'll just sign off on everything, okay? All right, good. Okay, well, the CIS explains that I will be representing you. And if you guys don't know what a CIS, Consumer Information Statement, or Buyer's Representation Agreement, what this states is that I have your interest in mind, not the seller's. I am not a transaction agent, which means I have no representation to either party. I represent your interest. Now, in the event that I do show you a home that's listed by my agency, then I become what's called a dual disclosed agent, which means that I then have to be very impartial, and I have to let you know, and I'll give you an additional document to sign stating that I've become a disclosed dual agent. But at this moment in time, I only represent your interest and your interest alone. You understand that? Yes, I do. Okay, the buyer understands. Now, this additional form protects you even further. This document here explains to you the duties that I have towards you, that I'm obligated and mandated by the state of wherever you're working, to let you know what type of duties I have towards you. So if you guys don't know what those duties are, there's an acronym called OLD CAR, OLDCAR, OLD CAR. All of those things basically are your obligations to them. Now, get used to explaining a document either backwards, upside down, because you're going to be having it pointed towards them, not to you, towards them. So you should memorize this document inside and out. You should go over it many, many, many times. If you're doing it over Zoom, it's a lot easier because it's not upside down, it's right side up. But it's really important for you to understand it, because the more times you repeat it, and the more times you understand it, You're not going to have any or you're not going to know where something is. You're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're going to go right through the things really quickly. Here are my obligations to you. I have to be obedient to you. I have to be loyal to you. I have to give you disclosure. I have to use, like all of my abilities as a real estate agent to represent you to the highest level. You have to give them all of that stuff. Now, does that sound like, this protects you? Yes, it does. Okay, now you have a few duties towards me. Your duties are to let me know of any homes you want to see. Don't lie to me about your financial situation. And any offers you want to make, you're going to make them through me as well. Sound good? Pretty easy, right? Yeah, that's pretty easy. Okay, great. Now, if I do find you a home, my compensation is 99% of the time, a majority of the time, it's going to be paid by the seller. You understand that the seller pays my commission, right? Oh, okay, I didn't know that, but now I do. Thank you. That was going to be one of the questions that I had. All right, so you just answered that question for the buyer. But in the event that I do find you a home that is not on market, would you be opposed to looking at those homes? No, I wouldn't. I would actually like to see a home that's not on the market. I might get a better deal on it because there's not live competition. Exactly, there wouldn't be a live competition. So in the event that I do find your home that's off market or a home that's a for sale by owner, and I find this for you, we would have to include my commission, which is 3% on top of the price. Does that sound fair to you? Yes, it does. Okay, good. That's the summary of the exclusive buyers agreement. Now, additionally, I want to let you know that I'm going to be working diligently for you. I'm going to be working for you, and I have precedent for clients that I work with that I've already executed this agreement, because what it states is that I will be searching for homes for you. I don't make anything on a transaction until it closes. You understand that, right? We don't get compensated hourly. Yes, I do. So I'm going to be working night and day, nonstop, until I find you a home. The only thing I ask is you work only exclusively with me, because if you run off with another real estate agent, obviously that means that all the hard work and all the time I'm putting into this is going to be, go by the wayside. Now, if I'm not doing my obligations, if I'm not meeting my obligations that I just explained to you, I am asking you, I have thick skin. Let me know if I'm not giving you the best representation. Let me know if I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do. And I will quickly remedy that. I'll quickly correct that. And if we find that we're not a good fit for each other, I'll let you out of this agreement. You go your way, I go my way, but we need to be very communicative with each other. Does that sound like a plan? Yes, it does. Okay, good. So now that we all understand each other, let's sign off. Now, I just explained to you guys the CIS and the exclusive buyers agreement in a nutshell. And I'm explaining to you very easily right now because I've explained it hundreds of times. I've even explained non-exclusive buyers agreements, which if you're not familiar with, is basically the same thing I just explained to you, but it's for investors, because investors are not only going to have a relationship with you, they're going to have relationships with other agents also. So it's non-exclusive, but in the event that you find them a home that's off market, you're protected. You understand? You will always have protection when it comes to showing homes to clients. There's a lot of times when we find homes that are not on market and we're scrambling. I get the calls all the time. Louis, how do I make sure that I get compensated? How do I make sure that I get my commission? How do I make sure they don't go around my back? Having an executed buyer's agreement alleviates a lot of that. The other part of it could be you going directly to the seller and say, hey, Mr. Seller, I have a buyer that's possibly interested in your home. In the event we bring you an offer, are you willing to pay commission? Yes, I am. Okay, great. How much? 2.5, 3%, whatever it is. What you could do is one of two things. You can introduce your offer with the compensation already built in, or you can have a listing agreement specific to that just one buyer. And if the seller is willing to execute that, then you're even more protected than if you just had the buyer's agreement. So we're not in the business, guys, of being charitable with our time and our effort in real estate. At least we're in the business of making sales, right? So we have to make sure we protect ourselves, because there's nothing worse than working hard just to see our buyers go somewhere else, see our sellers cut us out of a deal. Thankfully, I don't think that's ever happened to me when a seller has cut me out, but buyers all the time, guys. Buyers have legs. No one owns a buyer, but the more psychologically you can have them committed to you and working with you, the better. Now, don't get your people to sign this and then drop the ball, because this is not a get out of jail free card where you introduce the document, now you're guaranteed a commission and you can go about your day, go about your life and forget they even exist and they owe you a commission. Yes, it's a contract, but no, you have to still fulfill your end of the obligation, because they can argue that you didn't do your part. It's very easy to get out of these things if you don't do what you're supposed to do, because you're a licensed person versus a consumer. The courts, I know at least in New Jersey, they don't favor you. They're not going to favor you if you have to go to court. Okay, you have to make sure you do what you got to do. So With that being said, does anyone have a question? Has anyone ever explained the exclusive buyer's agreement? Do you have a different way of explaining it or a different version of explaining it? Or are you still confused? So I'll let you guys kind of open up the conversation to that.
Hey, good morning, Louis. Happy 2022. Hope you had a good New Year's. I have a question for you, actually, out of New Jersey. So my cousin Teddy actually is looking to buy a house, and he had looked at a house just through Zillow with the listing agent, was the one who showed it to him. He didn't sign anything. He doesn't feel comfortable working with her as a dual agency because he doesn't know her. He wants me to write up the contract through my team here, so I obviously could get a little credit through it.
Yes.
And now the listing agent is kind of giving us a little bit of a hard time because obviously she showed it to him. What's kind of the logistics or legality there? Since he didn't sign anything with her.
Yeah.
He texted her, "Can I see the listing?" That's about it. You know, am I going to be the bad guy and be looking at a court case here if I write this offer up, or should I just give her a referral fee and say thanks so much?
No referral fee. It was her listing.
Yeah. Does anyone want to give him kind of your point of view, and I'll tell you maybe the way that I'd handle that one.
I was thinking you can just tell her the truth. You know, this is my cousin and he was just looking. And once he made the decision to buy, then he said, you know what, I want your help. Had I known that he was going out, I would have reached out to you and say like, hey, would you mind doing this showing? I'm not in the state or whatnot. Or I could have had one of my own showing agents take him, but that's not how it happened. Unfortunately, I give you my deepest apologies and I would love to do this deal with you. You know, let's be friends.
Yeah, that's perfect. Kind of the same road that I took. So
If you wanted to be a real gentleman about it, and if the cards were completely turned around, it might be a nice gesture to say, hey, listen, how about if I give you $500 for bringing the lead to me? I don't really know the legality of it, but I know that would be a sucky thing to be on the other end of. So you may want to just consider if it were the other way around, what would you appreciate? So I'd probably offer the guy or offer the $500 for the lead.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you this much. What you're dealing with right now is called the procuring cause. Now, that's a procuring cause means who is the one who initiated that transaction. And I would say every day of the week, that's going to rule in her favor. If Teddy was a first-time home buyer, you can argue the case that, you know, the guy didn't know any better. But Teddy is a seasoned buyer and investor. He's bought probably tens of dozens of homes, you know, so he knows. Shame on Teddy. He should have called you from the rip. So with that being said, I probably would not be arguing this case that much. And what I would try to do, like the other, you know, people on the call have said, is try to win the lady over. And I would get Teddy to sign an exclusive buyer's agreement now. And because what I've done in the past, and it's worked at times, is like, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention to you that my buyer has an exclusive buyer's agreement with me. I'm sorry, Teddy has an exclusive buyer's agreement with me. And, you know, obviously, if I have to execute that, Teddy's probably not going to buy this house because he's going to be due a commission to me. And that's going to add to the cost of this house. So most likely he won't even move forward. So, you know, I understand, you know, you showed him this home. And what I would do is to show you my sincere apologies, I'll give you a referral on it. You know, obviously it's in your, whatever you want to offer her. And, you know, if not, I'm sorry, we're not going to be able to make an offer on this property. And obviously, you know, from an ethical standpoint, you can't put your well-being before your clients. So if an offer is on the table and you don't want to offer to materialize because you're not going to get a full commission, well, I don't think that's the right thing to do either, because then she's actually being unethical at that point. You understand?
yeah, no, 100%. I understand.
Yeah. So
And it's funny. I'm actually here with at my mother's house in New Jersey now, and she's been doing real estate for years, and she agreed 100%.
He's not comfortable with dual agency.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's just not comfortable with dual agency.
He's not comfortable with this agent. He's not comfortable with dual agency. He does not feel that she is putting his best efforts ethically.
Yeah.
You know, dual agency is both parties, and he does not feel comfortable. He actually made a verbal offer, and she right to his face said, I'm not going to make that offer to them. They'll never take it.
Oh, yeah,
So
yeah.
how can you do that? And she told me that he signed paperwork with her, which he did not.
Yeah.
So she's not being upfront.
So yeah, Teddy, and like I said before, you know, a licensed person versus an unlicensed person. You're talking about the public versus a licensed person. If Teddy says, you know, this lady definitely did not have my best interest in mind, and she was clearly one-sided, that makes me feel uncomfortable, and I do not want to pursue making an offer with this individual. That strengthens, you know, his case. So yeah, I mean, listen, she can't put her own interest before the client's. If he wants to pursue with you, the offer has to get presented. That is obligation number one. Offer has to get presented, and you can even present it yourself, because I'm sure your mother remembers there was a time in which real estate agents presented the offers in person to the sellers, whether it was in the office or in their home, but the offers were presented in person. So you can go as far as saying, listen, my client has obligated me and asked me to make this offer to your clients via Zoom with you present, obviously. So, you know, that way you can make sure that his offer was presented. That's doable. I don't understand why it wouldn't be done, or why it couldn't be accepted to be done that way. And then you can clearly negotiate and not leave that Zoom call until you guys come to a meeting of the minds. So yeah, your mother definitely, she'll remember those days, and that's still a possibility for you to do.
Where I had a client who was actually my plumber, who came to do some plumbing work for me and told me about what was going on with his real estate needs. And he actually had the agent write up the offer, and the offer was presented, but was not presented correctly. I took it over. I won the case in court because he was not comfortable with his agent.
There you go.
Yep.
There you go. Yeah. Very good. Yeah. Her broker may argue procuring cause, but again,
Sure.
like I said, it's always going to be the consumers is a lot of times is going to win over the licensed individual if the consumer's needs are not being put before the commission of the agents. Okay.
Correct. So I'm going to have him write a letter stating that he's not comfortable working with the listing agent. He doesn't feel the dual agency is something that he's comfortable with. He wants to work with Stephen, and Stephen will present the offer.
There you go. You're lucky to have your mom on your side, man. She knows what she's talking about.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. She's like my second, third broker over here.
That's awesome. Thanks, Mom.
Too bad we can't get her over to EXP.
Not yet, at least. Not yet. Let's keep our fingers
No,
crossed.
Hey, Louis, I have a question.
Yes, let's go.
Can an agent fight a procuring clause at an open house if like a buyer were to show up and say, hey, I don't have a realtor, and then they do and they want to present an offer?
Sorry about that. Well, yeah, I heard your question. So her question is basically, can a procuring clause be brought up when a buyer comes in and says, I don't have an agent, but then ends up making an offer through another agent anyway? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay. That depends, because remember, you know, you're doing the open house to try to get the home sold. And if somebody comes to you with one story and then changes their story later on, yeah, I mean, you could make that case it's procuring cause because you showed it. But then again, like you're putting your own needs before theirs. Now, what happens is the procuring cause case is it's a slippery slope, because your commission is supposedly it's a lien against the proceeds of the house. Okay, that's what a commission is supposed to be. So in order for you to get a procuring cause, you literally would have to put a lien on the property almost in order to make sure that you get paid, or put a list pendings against the property before the home sells, because after the home sells, there is no more procuring cause lawsuit, because it was supposed to be a lien against the proceeds of the home. And in that case, it would be too late. So to answer your question, it really depends, because if the client says to you, look, I have no other buyer, I have no other representation, I want to work with you, and you know they leave, and then you don't hear from them, and an offer comes over, it really does come up to you how much you want to push that, because it's unfortunate. You know, it really is unfortunate, because agents are really not protected as much as they should be. You know, our business is very kind of like gray area, you know, when it comes to legal things. Yeah, you could make that argument, but really at the end of the day, all you're doing is you're putting your seller in a bad position. So it really just depends on
Right.
if you want to push that. You can, and you might be able to scare the people into working with you, but then you also might be scaring them away from making an offer, period. So how would you guys handle that? How would you guys deal with that situation?
I mean, me personally, I wouldn't do that to a seller. I feel like it's unfair. It kind of happened like the other way around. We had sellers who were thinking of selling their house. So they were kind of out there looking at open houses to kind of, see what the prices were for the houses before they put their house on the market. They saw a house that they really liked. They called Harry and I to put their house up for sale, which we did. And then they were like, hey, we really want to put an offer on this house that we saw prior to putting the house on the market. So when they went to the open house, they didn't have a realtor because they weren't even thinking of selling yet. They were kind of just taking a look. So when the time came where their house was on the market, they wanted to put an offer on this house. And the agent was like, no, I'm not taking your offer. I showed them the house at an open house. And if they want to put an offer in this house, they have to do it through me. And I thought it was unfair. And luckily, we spoke with the buyers and kind of explained the situation. And they were just like, that's not fair. And we don't even want the house at this point. That's fine.
Yeah, that's what happens a lot of times.
But I thought that was just, they're not doing due diligence for their sellers, because we could have had an offer and she refused to take it.
Yeah. Look, doing an open house, that you're leveraging your time. I probably wouldn't hold it against the buyer as much as I would if I stopped what I was doing, scheduled the appointment, went out of my way across town, showed the home. That would probably be a situation where I want to defend my commission. That does make sense. But if you're doing an open house and, like they say, buyers are liars, buyer comes in and says, no, I don't have any representation, and an offer comes in, I probably wouldn't make such a big deal about that. I'd probably bring it up, but I probably wouldn't really hold my ground that much, because you were leveraging your time. You were there anyway. So, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know if you guys would handle that a little differently. Or has anyone on this call successfully won a procuring case argument? A procuring cause argument? From an open house even? And I say argument, I mean argument. You don't have to go to court for it.
No, I've been in that situation quite a few times.
Okay.
But my stance on it is we were splitting the commission anyway.
Got it.
And since it was already going to be split in the first place, what's the big fuss?
Yeah.
You can't run out of money. You're not going to run out of houses to sell. And to me, it's just fairness across the board. Okay. Because buyers do that sometimes when they're out shopping by themselves, especially if you were that realtor that says, well, no, I can't go today, because if you always had an excuse why you couldn't be with your buyer, then you're pretty much setting yourself up for the buyer to be out there on their own. And that's one thing that you don't want to do. I don't have a problem at all getting any buyers to sign my exclusive buyer agreement. We always deal with that with my second appointment. Or if I meet you for the first time showing a house, we will discuss that right after that showing, that this is the way how I operate. This is a partnership. I'm not over you, but I have the know-how with these documents, and I explain the services that I offer, but I never, ever have a problem getting a person to sign. And I always do it for a year, nothing less than 6 months. I do it for a year.
Yeah. Well, I'll bring something up that'll probably be the opposite of that. I know Harry's on this call. I'm not sure if he's able to talk. And I use Harry as an example a lot because he does things that I normally wouldn't do, but he's successful with it. So Harry has told me that a lot of his open houses, because Harry is like the open house champ, at his open houses, people do come in there without their real estate agents, and they come in and say, I'm working with, XYZ agent. And Harry says, well, where are they today? Why are they not with you? Plants those seeds of doubt. And Harry never tells them, like, don't work with your buyer. Don't work with your agent, work with me. But Harry has a way of kind of like letting people know, like, why are you out here by yourself? Why is your agent not with you? Why isn't he spending his time or her time, showing you this home? Harry, how do you take that conversation? How do you utilize that conversation so that way maybe we can learn from your ways, bud?
Good morning, everyone. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Morning.
So what I'll do is I'll go out and I'll stir everyone up psychologically before they step into the open house. And I'll just say, welcome to the open house. Thank you guys for coming. Do you have a realtor? You want to role play, Lou?
Sure, let's do it.
Hey, welcome to my open house. What's your name?
My name is Lewis, man. You got a lot of people here today. Looks like a good turnout.
Yeah, so this thing's going to go today. My name's Harry Page. I'm the team leader. Inside, I have Elizabeth and I have Pierre. And this house is going to go quick. So do you have a realtor?
Yeah, I've been working with this guy, Tim, from ABC Realty.
Okay, that's cool. And Tim's coming with you today. He's going to be here?
No. He's with his family today.
Oh, wow. Okay. So he's not going to show you the property today.
No, I was hoping I could just walk around and check it out myself.
Wow. Okay, that's not the way we work, but don't worry. I'll have Liz show you the property inside. And then usually what happens is when you say something like just as simple as, oh, wow, Lewis isn't here today to show you the property, they scratch their head. Once they scratch their head, I know I got them.
Yeah.
Because they start questioning themselves. And then I'll plant another seed of doubt, like I'll role play with you a little bit longer.
Sure.
So Lewis, I know you said your realtor isn't going to be here. Do you find yourself where you send most of the properties to your realtor and you're reaching out to them? You almost feel like the realtor?
I spend most of my time on Zillow looking through all the new listings and constantly sending them properties to look at. But that's a thing, more of a preference thing for me because I like to be in control.
Wow. How many offers have you lost already?
To be honest with you, probably about 2 or 3 already we've lost. It's been a competitive market. It's really tough out there.
I'm really not surprised, Lewis. In this market, you need to be proactive for your clients. You need to be proactively looking. Like, I'll give you an example. Liz inside, she'll be sending properties to you. It'll be the opposite. She'll be inconvenience you saying, hey, Lewis, I know you get out of work at 4 today, but this property just hit the market. We need to go see it immediately. If you don't have an agent that's doing things like that, you're just going to strike out all day long.
Wow. Yeah, well, my wife and I have been thinking about, kind of looking for someone else because we kind of did feel frustrated after losing the last property. But just a very loyal person, and I know she's been working hard, or he's been working hard for us. So, I think we're just going to stick with him.
I totally understand, but let me ask you a question. Are you loyal to your family or are you loyal to this agent?
Well, to be honest with you, I obviously have to have my family's interest in mind before anyone else's. But I don't see why we couldn't probably get the end result, by working with Tim. It's just probably a matter of time until we do get the offer accepted.
Sounds like wishful thinking from your past experience, losing out on 3 offers already, and you're at an open house by yourself. I always like to tell people actions speak louder than words. I feel like it's kind of written on the wall. You just don't want to look at it.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, Harry, if we like this house, would it be easier for us to just make the offer through yourself or Liz? Do we have a better shot at it?
It's not that you're going to have a better shot at it. I don't want you to think for us, it's not just this property, that's going to get multiple offers. What I'm trying to plant a seed is, even if you don't get this property, we want to be aggressively looking for you for the next one.
Okay. All right. Yeah, because we're not 100% sure if this will be the right house for us. But what you're saying is that you do things a little differently to get offers accepted. Can you give me an example of how it would be different?
Sure. So like I said, we kind of, scratch the surface with, I'll be sending you properties as they hit the market, not the other way around, which has been your experience so far from what you've shared with me.
Yeah, sometimes
I would also have a buyer's agent that would be showing you the properties, even on open houses. And then also, you have to sell the offer. You can't just present an offer. I'm a listing agent, so I don't work with buyers. Okay. But I have buyer's agents that I've trained because I've worked with buyers over the years. And I know what listing agents want to hear. You have to sell the offer. It's not just writing on a piece of paper. So would you say your agent's name was?
Tim.
Okay. Yeah. Tim doesn't sound like he's really proactive in your searches, and he needs to be able to sell that offer in. So I'll give you an example. I have agents that send me offers and I'll call them up and I'll say, hey, tell me a little bit about your client. And they'll say something like, Well, I sent an email with all the information.
Yeah.
And I'll say to them, is that what you want to tell me? All right, no problem. Have a good day.
Yeah.
If you think I'm going to tell my sellers that Lewis is a good agent representing this guy, I'm going to tell you he's going to be a nightmare. Because my experience is you got to sell the offer. So for example, when I call up a listing agent, let's say it's Christopher Lieva, right? I'm going to say, hey, Chris, let me tell you a little bit about my client, Lewis. He's been looking for some time now. He worked with an agent that really wasn't dialing into his needs. They lost out on multiple offers. So I can tell you that from them writing multiple offers, they're very serious. They're not going to get cold feet. They know what they want. They've been qualified with my in-house lender. They're going to use our preferred lawyer who only does real estate transactions, which is going to make this process a lot smoother than what it could be if we didn't have the experience there. The home inspector that we recommend, he isn't a deal killer where he's going to nitpick the whole house and, you know, give these first-time buyers a heart attack. And at the end of the day, we're going to make some money. Does that sound good to you?
Yeah, I hope so, man. Let's see if your buyer qualifies. As long as he's working with a reputable lender, then I think that might be a good fit for my sellers, because my sellers really, at the end of the day, they don't want to waste any time.
Yeah, he's with my in-house lender, Landy Garcia. We closed 75 deals just in the last year.
Okay, good. Yeah, see, Harry, a lot of things with the way that Harry presents things is that it's not what he says, it's how he says it. With all the experience and all the time and the many situations he's been through, he already knows it. He understands it. It only comes with time. For Harry, it wasn't easy this first year. It wasn't easy for anyone really their first year. But he's really come to a place where he is so confident about what he could deliver and what he has already done for his clients. There's been times when I've told Harry, maybe it's better to just let this guy go. And Harry's like, no, I'm not letting this guy go. I've been working too hard. And every single time Harry says that, he closes the deal. Like, he's done it at least twice already that I could think of with two problematic sellers. And at the end of the day, he just has so much confidence in what he could do that he ends up doing it, even though it might take some years off his life, but he ends up doing it. Right, Harry?
Yeah, I think I let him go now.
Now Harry lets him go. He picks his battles. But yeah,
I like the years on my life.
In the beginning, he was a little bit more gumption than he does now. But yeah, absolutely, guys. You guys will be in the same position. You got to keep at it, and with time and practice, you will get the confidence behind everything you're saying. Not that the way that Harry says it or what he says is the only way, but it's a way, and it works for him. You guys have to develop also your own style and your own way. Just make sure you're confident in what you're saying. Good. Thank you for that, Harry. Does anyone want to add anything before we move on to the next topic? I think some of you guys may be talking, but you're muted, unless you guys are good.
I just want to add to, the buyer's agreement. We don't have anyone sign it, but we do have very uncomfortable conversations and just say, listen, we want to move forward. We're not going to have you sign anything, but I want you to understand this is how we provide for our family. And we kind of weed out people. So listen, I know Teddy too, and I use him for all recommendations for oil tanks. But like, say, for example, like Teddy, if I spoke to him earlier or any buyer, I'm going to say to them, if I get calls, and I get calls all the time on my listings, like, hey, can you show me the property today? I'll write the offer up through you right now.
Yeah.
And I'll explain to them, no, you can't come in until Sunday, because Sunday is really driven for my buyer's agents to pick up clients. So that's why I don't let anyone in all week, so that they all come in on Sunday. Yeah. And if they have a shitty realtor, they're going to pick them up right off that realtor, because if they're not doing their job, my buyer's agents should be able to take them if they're doing all what they're supposed to. And if I get someone that says, hey, Harry, we're just kind of using the listing agents, and I'll say, I'm not the realtor for you.
Yeah.
It's that simple. Like, you got to qualify them just like a lender is qualifying a buyer. If they're going to be people that are wishy-washy, I'm not fucking with them. I don't got time for you. Yeah. Like you said, I'm not in the business just to show a house. I'm here to make money for my family and help people at the same time. So, you have to qualify them, and you have to have that uncomfortable conversation. Listen, Louis, if you're going to be using listing agents and just being wishy-washy with people, I'm going to respectfully say, don't call me. But if you want an agent that's going to dial into your needs that's going to be showing you properties, bringing them to your attention, not the other way around, and making themselves available on open houses on Sundays, even though they don't have to, then I'm your agent. But if that doesn't feel like that works for you, I would respectfully say, don't call me. This is how I put food on the table. I'm very good at what I do.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you're not going to find someone that's better than me and more qualified to dial into your needs. But if you're not going to be loyal, let's not waste each other's time. Bottom line.
Okay. Yeah. See, that works too, because like I said before, guys, a buyer's agreement is more of a psychological thing. It really doesn't hold much weight because really no one owns a buyer. You know, a buyer can run off into the sunset and you'll never hear from them again. And they'll never pick up your calls, and good luck trying to figure out if they bought a house or not. You know, and 9 times out of 10, they'll change lenders if they have to get away from you. So this conversation that Harry's talking about is probably even more important than anything else you can get them to sign. This is called a buyer's consultation. You know, you don't necessarily need to set up a day to just do that because we know time is limited. But when you're showing the first home and you ask them the uncomfortable questions, you know, have you been pre-qualified? Are you working with another lender? You know, how quickly are you looking to buy a home? One of those questions is if you're working with another agent, you can expand on that and let them know how you work and what your strategies are to find homes and what you expect from them as a client. Because like Harry said, we don't get paid to show homes, we don't get paid to open doors. And that's quite frankly the right thing to let them know. Maybe not so much in a way where, you know, you're offending them, but letting them know how the real estate business actually works. You know, a lot of buyers and sellers, they think that real estate agents are, you know, they're rich and they all drive fancy cars and, you know, they sell one home a year and that's all they need to survive. And, you know, that you guys know that's not the case. You know, it's a totally different animal. So, I think we've definitely uncovered a lot about that. That's good. Psychology of working with buyers is definitely something you guys have to understand. The other thing I want to talk to you guys about today too is like for some of you who might be doing a lot better and you guys are, you know, working in this business now maybe for quite some time, you're probably getting to the point now where maybe you're feeling some kind of burnout. You know, top producers, you know, agents have been in business for a while. You're gonna come across this a lot, and you're gonna feel like, you know, you've got your amazing days and weeks, and then you've got your, you know, pretty bad days and bad weeks, bad months, even sometimes you're in a slump. How do top producers deal with burnout? Now, I don't know if any, some of you could help me with this. Maybe give me some of your examples if you guys have been in business now for some time, maybe at least 6 months to a year. Have any of you been facing burnout? Have any of you guys faced a part of the business that you're not in love with, that you wish you know, you could either get rid of or maybe find a better way? Any of you guys want to kind of share with me or share with us? That way we can expand on it. I know we've got a few.
I want to say something. I don't know if this is valid, but what it is like these leads come in, right, for these rentals. And a lot of the people are, what he said, wishy-washy, right?
Yeah.
It's like 80, 90, 100 people. They, you know, apply for the listing and don't show up for the, you know, show up to see the property and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it get aggravated and make you want to just be like, yo, I'm not doing this. You know, it's like so many people.
Okay. Yeah. Well, you know what I'll tell you about that right now is I've been listening. I listen to a lot of entrepreneurs outside of real estate and, you know, in real estate sometimes as well. And the number one thing that I get from them is that you could be the best entrepreneur in the world, but if you're in the wrong boat, you're never going to make it to your destination. So if you're a high level agent and you're a high level thinker and you're spinning your wheels with rentals, you're probably on the wrong boat. What I want to tell you is that, yeah, they're probably the lowest hanging fruit, but that comes at a cost. So if you're going to start off with rentals, I'll tell you this much right now, never go to show a property for one person. Rentals always have been pretty hot commodities. I would say you go to a rental once a week and you let everyone in at the same time. So if they show up, great. If they don't, they don't. Other than that, I would not be wasting any time on rentals. If they're your client's rental, like your sellers or your landlord's rental, you know, and you're doing it as kind of more of a favor, I get it, but don't classify yourself as a rental agent unless you're in a vacation town and you're crushing it, or you're in Manhattan, you're crushing it, because it's really, you're putting the same effort into that you could be into working with sellers or working with, serious buyers. So that's probably the only thing I can add on that. I don't know if anyone else would want to add anything to it.
My only question is, if you do work with a lot of renters, do you already have, and this is really for eClef, do you have something else in your back pocket how to help them turn into homeowners? Because if you don't, then you'll definitely get burnt out and feel like it's a waste of time. But you have to understand and try to figure out what's that fine line that you need to have them as continual buyers. For me, if I work at rentals, I've signed an exclusive buyer's agreement because now I'm locking them into where's your credit standing. I also do credit restoration. So if you don't have somebody else to help with that, help them get their credit up, help them always keep feeding them the perks of home ownership and convert them into still being your client, but now move them into the home ownership category. But the number one question is, what is your true love for the business? I speak to a lot of people with that all the time. I get burnt out. Why are you in real estate? If it's just for money, you're going to burn out real fast. If it's for the love of serving other people, you'll always find a spark in that. And you need to reach back to it.
Yeah. As far as that, I'm new, so I'm learning, and a lot of the people, they don't have good credit. They don't have, like, everything is jacked up, and like Lewis said, I could be in the wrong boat, but I wanted to generally share that because that's like a thing that make me feel like it burned me out, making these lists and calling these certain people, and it's like, that could be it. I'm in the wrong boat.
Yeah. Listen to your gut.
Or you can target the landlords to be on the list inside of the rentals. And when you want to list inside, like Louis said, you can host the open house where all the people come at once. Because me personally, I don't work with renters, but I will take a listing for on the other side because it's easier. And like Belinda said, you got to have a way to win them over. So if you are getting a lot of renters, try to host seminars, try to host different things to prepare them for home ownership. But you definitely got to have your why, and you got to figure out what boat you want to be on.
Yeah.
I started feeling a little burnt out too, dealing with a ton of renters, especially in the Miami area. And one thing I did a couple of months ago, and it seems to work out pretty well for me so far, is just set parameters on who I'm going to work with. And I did that for myself just to respect my time, because I broke down, all right, if I sell a $500,000 house, I'm going to make X. And my time is worth this amount of money per hour. So, I'm not going to work on something that might be a $1,400 listing. However, a rental for a renter. However, I will flip that and list the rental for someone. And what I recently did was exactly that. And I have a ton of leads for $1,400 rentals that I'm not going to work with, but they are still valuable because I can refer them out to a brand new agent who is on my team and say, hey, I have some people that you can work with. Let me know who you can help out. So at the end of the day, you could still utilize the people that you don't want to work with necessarily for yourself, but set those parameters for yourself. Respect your time, respect your business. For me in 2022, I'm really targeting the $1 million+ houses and 5,000+ rentals. Anything below that, I have a structure that I can refer to one of my newer agents on the team, and the client will still get serviced. And it'll still benefit my newer agent on the team. However, for my business to level up to that next level, that's something that I had to do.
Yeah. Now, everything we're talking about here is really relevant to any stage that you're in, because the same stage that eClif is in right now, I remember those days when I did that as well. And I remember the days when buyers burned me out to the point where I'd want to cry. Is how bad working with buyers is sometimes. It's terrible if you just get a bad series of buyers. And I said to myself, I'll never work with another buyer. I'm only going listings. And it took that pain. It took for me to go through that pain to then become strictly just a seller's agent. And I became a top listing agent, accruing over 105 listings in 1 year by just doing the same thing over and over and over again, and learning how to say no to buyers and referring those buyers out. And it was hard in the beginning because we would always think like, oh, I'll just take this buyer because it feels like we're doing something by showing homes. It feels like we're working when we're busy, but in actuality, that's not true. Being busy doesn't mean you're making money. So it took a lot for me to make that mind shift and say, no more buyers. Buyers are getting referred out, only dealing with sellers. And even though it was a longer wheel to turn, the juice at the end of that squeeze of making that decision was way more worth it than sticking it out with buyers that whole time. Now, the reason why we get burned out at any stage in real estate that we're in is because we're not challenging ourselves enough with something fresh and innovative, and we're consistently doing the same thing over and over again, and getting the same results and sometimes worse results by continuously doing the same. Now, what I will tell you is if you get to that point, or if you're in that point right now, or if you're looking for a change right now, look for the next level up in your business, whatever that may be, whether that may be working with more investors or working with more, high-end properties, or working strictly with sellers, working with, your target demographic client, your avatar client, I guess you would call it, and just figuring out a way how you could do less of what you don't like, what's not making you happy, even though it may pay the bills to a certain extent, and do more of what you really want, because that's how you're going to avoid hating real estate. That's how you're going to avoid hating what you're doing every single day. You've got to be excited. If you're not getting up before your alarm clock, if you're not getting up every day and you can't wait for Mondays, then you're doing the wrong thing. You're not doing the right thing, and you're going to feel burnout. Burnout is going to lead to exhaustion, and then you're going to stop completely what you're doing, and you're going to join the next trend out there that you think is going to make you happy. So you got to start making the changes incrementally now in what you're doing in order to avoid that. Anyone else feel that they've gotten to a point and they beat that? I know there's a few heavy hitters on our call today. Has anyone gotten to a point where they're burned down and they changed something and it worked? I see Chris has his hand up. Chris, can you let us know?
Yeah, hey everybody. So being in real estate for 20 years, I've seen some ups, I've seen some downs. I've had some record-breaking years. I mean, from ranking in the top 7 out of 3,000 RE/MAX agents, to owning a RE/MAX franchise, and then just owning a team, and then letting all of that go, letting office space go, working out of my home. These past 2 years have been challenging for me because I've put so much of my focus in one thing, which was dealing with investors going to the sheriff sales, working on foreclosures and REO properties. So where with all the government moratoriums, all of that came to an end for me. So I felt frustration of having to get back into the retail end of it because it was extremely competitive out there right now, because I think there's more agents than I've ever seen before. And it feels kind of like a rat race, right? The retail market. And then there's another part of my frustration where, 20 years in the business, and I've had all these record-breaking years and not planning financially structure for an exit. And I think that's extremely important, especially if you're new into this business, is have a structure in place so that there's an exit strategy. Because if this, sales, and particularly real estate sales, can be extremely challenging, and you can very easily burnt out. So I like what you just said, Louis, that burning out comes from not challenging ourselves with doing new things and doing the same thing and expecting a different result. So that's kind of definitely where I've been. I'm excited about the EXP thing now because, in my career with RE/MAX, I must have given them over $500,000 just on that small 6% franchise fee. So if I can repeat that process, I'm hoping this will be my next 10-year gallop where I can create an exit strategy to where I don't necessarily have to work harder anymore, but rather work smarter, be selective, right? I think that's one of the things on my list is that I'm a powerhouse when it comes to listing presentations. why have I spent so much of the past 12 months working with all these buyers in a rat race when I know if I go for a listing appointment, I'm going to land it. So why am I not putting more of my focus on what I'm really good at and what I'm passionate about? You know, when I'm on a listing presentation, I feel like I'm in motion, I get emotional, and like I'm sure the seller can read that energy as opposed to me kind of being out there with the buyer, like, all right, here we go, another house, another offer. So, focusing on the things that I'm passionate about as opposed to not being passionate, on the other. So it's a very tough business, but and having a plan in place, of course, to be able to have a foundation where I can walk away at some point and be like, you know what, I'm gonna wake up today and I don't have to go sell a house if I don't want to. And my lifestyle's not gonna change. That's top priority on me for this year and for the next 10 years. I need to create that for myself, to have more balance with my family, with my daughters. So that's a big one for me, because if I keep doing the same thing, I'm going to burn myself out. And I'm not getting any younger, So
Even though you look it.
Code now.
Thank you, Chris. I appreciate it.
Let's go, champ.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Yeah, you know what? We've got a few people on the call who been through the tough times, the good times. You guys have some seasoned years behind you or below you. But I guarantee all of you've all gotten to a point where you felt the limitations, the frustrations, the anguish of feeling underutilized for what you're meant for. So I challenge you, not just because it's the new year and whatever you might be into. Yeah, this is a good time of year to start with new energy and start with new goals. But I challenge everyone in this call, not just for the beginning of the year, but always. I always challenge you guys to look at what is next. It's really easy to get caught up in the everyday because life gets you distracted and busy. But I challenge you guys always to reflect on what you're doing and where you're going and how long it's going to take you to get there on the same track that you're on. And making just small little gradual changes over time will make drastic changes, because what happens is that it compounds on each other. So if every day I do one more push-up than I did the day before, in 30 days, I'll be doing hundreds of push-ups a day. It's the same principle. It's the same principle with you guys. If you're prospecting, you do one phone call a day, then the next day you do 2, then 3, then 4, then you add 1 each day. Same thing goes with business, guys. Whatever you guys want to achieve, it doesn't have to be cold turkey. Overnight, I'm going to be this person and that person. It starts with just making the decision first, or feeling the pain first, because nothing great, I believe, has ever come from not feeling the opposite of it. People who are overweight, they lose a lot of weight because they felt the pain of being overweight. Sometimes people get diagnosed with lung cancer. They stop smoking because they felt the pain. Don't let yourself get to the point where it's too far to come back. Don't get to that part where you burn yourself out and you've given up. So make the changes as you're feeling the frustration and the pain. Do more of what you love. Do more of what makes you the money. Do less of what frustrates you. Do less of what doesn't pay the bills. Even though it may seem like low-hanging fruit, Heathcliff, renters, it seems like it's quick money. It's quick money. It's quick money. Quick money comes at a price. That's why they always say, good things comes to those who wait. So even though being a listing agent is further down the line or harder, it's much more rewarding. It's much more rewarding when you can go on vacation and you've got buyers, agents showing your properties and sending you offers to review while you're on vacation. That's a much more scalable business than it is running around with 10, 20 buyers all at one time. And I'm not taking that away from anyone. If you guys are in that stage where you're running around with buyers, just learn how to qualify them, like Harry said, and work with the serious ones. Ask the 3 pivotal questions. Are you qualified? Are you working with another agent? And are you willing to buy in the next 30 to 60 to 90 days? Which one is it? If they say anything other than the 30, 60, or 90 days, that they're not ready to buy right now. You have to ask uncomfortable things, because your time is not going to be given back to you if they don't respect your time. So I think we're running out of time. Does anyone want to add anything before we cut out? We go?
Just real quick on that note, Lewis, this is my second time that I'm in that listing position. I've been in New Jersey for the past 2 weeks, and I posted my listing, I think, on the day before New Year's, and I had like 6 offers while I was enjoying my family time in New Jersey. I had other people working and putting in offers. It's a great feeling. And once you make that commitment to make that switch, yeah, I thought I wasn't going to do anything. I was getting real scared in real estate for about 6 months. I had nothing, I couldn't get a listing, but all of a sudden it started rolling, and now it's a much better position to be in. And like you said, it's scalable. You know, you can only run around with so many clients in a 10-hour, 12-hour period of day. You know, you can have 12, 13 listings and manage them all very well from wherever you are.
Hello?
Yes, Alejandro.
Yeah, I just want to ask something. Well, I put 2 houses on the contract when I was in Paris. So I use an app for showing agents. I pay like $40, and it working out better for me than start running around. I'm at point, you know, it's not everybody, but if anybody needs that information, let me know. I got an app.
Can you share with me, Alejandro? I will let that.
Yeah, text me. Sure, absolutely.
All right, thank you.
It's like Uber. They go right away.
That sounds incredible. So you're using an app where buyer's agents will go show a property for you for X amount?
Yes, I paid them $40. I gave them like tip like $5, and I think this year probably about three houses I sold them just through it. Yep.
Wow, talk about that's a scalable business.
Oh yeah, man, it'd be working.
Scalable business. Now you can
anybody want that information? Let me know.
That's awesome.
That's pretty much. I mean, that's pretty much what Rob Dukansky does. He hires. I don't even want to call them real estate agents. They're more like showing agents.
Yeah, showing agents.
And they get $1,000 a week, and they show as many properties as he needs. And that's pretty much what this is. Alejandro's using is this. Can you lower that, Liz? It's like echoing. It's where you delegate that and you pay for that service, which I think is great. I think it's smart, Alejandro.
Yeah, that is really that's the Uber of real estate agents. What people have been trying to do for a long time. That's awesome.
Sure.
Yeah, I did. Alejandro shared the app with me, and I did have a client. You know, I did book an appointment with another agent through there and paid the $40. And I asked my client, you know, how was the experience with the agent? And she said it was fine. It was great. So it was pretty helpful.
Wow, I love that.
We do that here in Georgia, just through the workplace. A lot of new agents respond in the workplace with it. But I just want to put my 2 cents in. I love buyers. So if you guys want to refer any buyers to me, send them my way. It's a gratifying thing to me to work with the buyers, to watch somebody else's life change. So I understand everybody likes sellers and want to work with sellers, but I am an accredited buyer's representative. I love my buyers. Don't want them, send them here.
There you go.
And
Yo,
before we
Big
go,
Lou.
Yes, sir.
Lou, I wanted to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Today, 5 years since I joined Culture with you.
Yeah, I remember that.
And yeah, it changed my life, bro. It's changed my family and everything that I followed you from start to finish, from 5 agents to 100. It just keeps going. I'm just gonna, keep holding on to your rear end and just follow you wherever you go. And it's only gotten better and better. So Lewis is a great mentor. You guys just got to follow what he does and put it into action, like he says, and it does work. Like I went from broke to where I'm, planning my exit strategy, like Chris talked about. I totally identify with that. I don't want to be doing this the rest of my life. And even if I do, it's by choice, not by getting up and I have to go sell a house. No, I want to go sell a house. I want to be in that position, and I'm putting myself in that position and staying humble. So, and I think, Chris, you need to share more often. I think you have a lot to say, and we all can learn from each other. And I think everyone else, even on the call that are quiet, you got to speak up because we all learn from each other.
Yeah.
And Happy New Year, everybody.
Absolutely.
Will do, man. And one of my commitments is to jump on these meetings every time we have one. So that's another part of my commitment for this year.
Yeah. Awesome. Hey, and guys, just to touch on something, I know that I sent everyone the invitation for Cabo in March, Cabo St. Lucas, where we're having our next mastermind. If you guys are attending Brent Go's event, congratulations. I know that thing's been sold out now for months, but if not, we are having a mastermind at the hotel for any of us who are not going to be able to make it to the event. And if you guys are interested in that, I did email you guys the link to it. Just let, obviously Micah know or Paige know that if you're interested, she's trying to gauge how many people are going to go. But I know that a lot of you have been worried about the COVID restrictions. As of right now, there are no COVID restrictions as far as getting vaccinations. You would just have to provide a negative test result, which is pretty typical with leaving the country anyway. So if you guys are okay with that, I don't think there should be any holdups at all. If she does get the hotel that she's planning on renting out, she's trying to book the entire hotel. It's approximately $150 a night. I think it's a 6-day thing or 5-day thing, something like that. Which it's a lot cheaper because the hotel that I previously had booked is, I think, $450 a night. So for Cabo San Lucas, it's a steal. It's not on the water, but it's pretty close to. And I think she's going to be getting us guest passes for daytime access to the resort that is on the water. So that would be a win-win. So if you guys have never been to one of Micah's mastermind events, I'm telling you guys, especially the small ones, not so much the one in Las Vegas, which is pretty big and you hardly get to really meet people on a one-on-one basis. It really is a game changer and it really is a life-changing event. So if you guys have never been to one, I strongly encourage you guys find a way. And if you guys already been to the one in Puerto Rico, then I don't have to do much convincing. You guys know what comes along with it. So with that being said, I think that it's definitely something you should have on your calendar. Push yourself, guys. You want to surround yourselves around people who are doing way bigger things than you. That's the only way you're going to scale up. Surround yourself around people who are massively successful, and just by the simple law of attraction, you'll be able to absorb something from them, and you'll be well on your way to do amazing things as well. Does anyone want to add anything? If not, we're going to close out.
One thing before it's over real quick, sidebar thing.
No problem.
A year ago today, I met at an open house. I met a guy who owned a Catholic Christian school, right, in the Power Washington franchise. So he asked me, when you get commissions, what do you do with it? Yuri?
Yuri, yeah, that's the guy that you guys did the open house for. Go ahead.
Yeah, Yuri.
Mm-hmm.
So he tapped me, Yuri. So he tapped me on the shoulder and asked me, what do you do with your commissions? How you do to protect your money, right? So I don't know if people know about this, being they talking about like exit strategies and stuff like that. So I just wanted to know if anybody is into like precious metals, as far as gold bullion and silver bullion, converting your cash into these precious metals that's appreciating assets to protect your wealth, as you get it, protect some or whatever you can do to do that, if anybody is into that.
Yeah, well, I'll say this much. I'm a big fan of
or interested in it.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of diversification along with owning some precious metals myself. I do feel like assets such as real estate, crypto and stocks, bullion, all of that stuff is good for you guys to look into. And that's one of the great things about eXp Realty is that whether we like it or not, we're becoming investors. We're getting stock, we're getting awarded in something that's an appreciated hedge against inflation. So I think that all of that is good, guys. Educate yourselves on all types of different investments, precious metals being one of them. There's supposed to be a good hedge against inflation, which we're going to see a lot of in the upcoming months and years. So yeah, definitely take some time to look into all that. Ecliffe, have you done well with it? You got the gold bug?
Yeah, I'm not mad at it at all. I'm not bad at it at all. And if anybody, I put my number in the chat too, if anybody want to know about it. But yeah, man, I've accumulated quite a bit of it. I got some of it here on the table. I was just organizing some stuff,
That's beautiful.
It's stuff underneath it, and this 5-ounce 911 commemorative coin is like 911 of them in the world that I got down in Salt Lake City. Yeah. It was a big event down there with the company, and they made it available to the people there. So
good for you, man.
If you wasn't there, you couldn't get it, and it went up. This thing was $740. Right now it's selling for $2,000.
Yeah. Beautiful, man. Anything is better than the US dollar.
Huh?
Anything's better than the US dollar. That's for
anything sure. Better than the US dollar, man. You got it.
Or, the only thing worse than the US dollar is the Turkish lira, I guess you could say, right? But good job, man. Good job. Awesome. So let's go ahead and close out with our prayer, guys. Thank you so much for being on this call today, the first call of 2022. I thank everyone here for making the time and the effort to be here with us. It means a whole lot to me, and I'm sure it's going to mean a lot to you if you guys take these suggestions that the crew has given us today and put them into action. I know I've learned a lot, so thank you for everyone who was here and made it possible. Dear Lord, Father, we thank you so much, Father, for giving us the opportunity to start a fresh year with a fresh perspective. With the people on this call today, Father, we ask you to look over our health and look over our future, Father, and also for the ones who couldn't make it to this call today, Father, our brothers and sisters who are in this race together with us. Father, we just ask you to help us become just a little bit better every day, Father, so we can bless those around us and bless this planet and our loved ones, Father, with all of the things that this planet desperately needs, Father. Allow us to become that much better, Father, so we can, in your name, Father, bless the kingdom. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. Thank you, everyone. Have an amazing day, amazing week, and good start to the year.
Thank you.
Thank you, Louis.
Thank
Happy
you.
New Year, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you.
Guys,
Thank you, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.
great call, Louis. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.